Alright, hello everyone. Today we'll be going over part 2 of our Camera Translate app. In this video, we'll be going over the added pieces of code and the importance on some of them, and how they shape the app we built. We will also see an example of this code running and providing a demonstration of it translating some of the languages. So let's begin and head in. So the first thing we want to do is connect our device. So we want to head over to Device Manager. Make sure we got a cable connected to our device to our phone. Next, we'll see that we have our device here. As long as we have the green dot that knows we're connected, it'll know we're connected. So to actually start, we can actually mirror it so we can see the POV of the device. And so what we want to do is we want to get to developer options. In order to get to developer options, what we first want to do is get to settings, scroll all the way to the bottom about phone, go all the way down to build number. Sorry. And so what we want to do is we want to click on build number about like 7 or so times in order to unlock developer mode. Because I've already done it, I don't need to, but in case you haven't done it, please do so. Next, what we want to do is we want to search up for developer. So we'll go here. Where is it at? Alright. Now, developer options. Some of these options will already be turned on, but for the most part, what you want to have right now is just stay awake so that the phone doesn't turn off while you're working on it. And USB debugging, showing that the USB is connected to the device and everything. Once we have that, we can actually run the app so we can show a demonstration of it. Alright, now it's opened. And now the camera or the screen is black just because the camera is facing down. If we grab the phone, we can actually look at the drop-down menu. It says point the camera at text. We have 5 different options for Spanish, French, German, Italian, or Japanese. We'll just pick a couple. We'll do Spanish first with hello.
Hola.
There you go.
Hola.
Now we'll try French.
Hola. Bonjour.
Now we'll try Italian.
Bonjour.
Alright, some time.
Ciao.
There you go.
Ciao.
So now that we've got it and we've provided a demonstration of it, we can actually close this app and we can actually turn off the mirroring. And so now we can actually go ahead and talk about what we've added so far into our files to make the app actually run. And so if we go all the way to the top here, we can actually begin by speaking about what we have so far. So here we have imports. So these imports, they bring in tools and libraries to our app needed to work. So they access things like the camera, the translation, and text-to-speech features. Next, we have things like the main activity and opt-in. So this opt-in lets us use experimental camera features that let us work around with the app. Regarding our main activity class, this is our main class. It's basically the brain of the app. It controls what happens when the app opens, handles the camera, the text, the reading, and the translation. So things like speech on a listener. This part allows it to speak out loud. So on things like the private function should speak, this function helps the app avoid repeating the same words too often. So as we saw when we used it, there was kind of a stuttering, maybe like a repeat. That's because of the frame of the camera. We'll keep detecting it, so it might repeat. We can change this by setting values to delay it. So if we look at here, we can see the detect text, last time spoken, and then the amount of time we want to set it back to. If we move on, we can actually see things like on create. So what does on create do? This runs when the app first opens. So it sets up the screen, checks for camera permissions, loads the camera, and fills the drop-down menu with the language options. If we go here to cleanup, where is it? Oh, not cleanup, sorry, it's permissions granted. Permissions granted, start camera. This is basically part where it turns on the camera and things will start scanning. So it prepares the camera view and connects it to our live preview, and we can see what the camera sees. And going back to that, we can scroll down here to start camera. So this part actually turns off on the camera. It'll turn the camera on and it'll start scanning. It prepares the camera view and connects it to our live preview so that we can see what the camera sees. And let's scroll down now to text, clean up text. Though this little helper here fixes mistakes in what the camera reads. So sometimes it might read the letter O for a 0. So that's why we have this in place, so that if it does mistake it for a 0, it'll actually translate it back to an O. We have that with quite a different other characters. So if we go down here to process image proxy, or first let's talk about add Android. Basically, this marks that we're using an experimental camera function. Again, it's needed for reading each frame that comes from the live camera feed. And so going back to process image proxy, what we have here is this is where the app takes what the camera sees, scans it for words, and then sends the text to be translated. It's the main image reading part of the app. If we go now here to translate and speak, so this handles the translations. This is where the app uses the Google ML Kit to translate whatever text was found into the language you picked from the dropdown, and then calls the speak functions to say it out loud. So as you see, we have the different languages we have in our dropdown. So now if we go to speak, this basically makes the phone actually talk. It uses Android's built-in text-to-speech system to say the translated words. Override function on it basically means that this runs when the speech system starts and sets up the voice language. In our case, it's English. And then for lastly on destroy, this means that this runs when you close the app, so it shuts down the text-to-speech engine to save memory and battery. So now if we move on to our next file, our activity main, we can actually, it's a bit shorter, but they each serve a purpose here. So the constraint layout, so this is like the main layout that holds everything you see on the screen. It's called the constraint layout because it lets us place each item, like the text, the buttons, or the camera view, exactly where we want it by connecting it to the edges of the other views and devices. So next we have our preview view, our Android camera preview view. So this part shows what the camera sees in real time. It's like the window where your live camera feed appears, so you can point it at text for the app to read. Here is our next one. We commented it out currently just because we don't really need it unless you want it. So basically what the button does, it allows you to actually, in case you didn't want the camera open at all times, you would have simply a button that would just say open camera button. Once you selected it, I would obviously ask for permission to open the camera app, and from there it would just open the camera instead of it having it open all the time. Next we have the spinner. So this is actually like the language selector. So this is the drop down when you open the app on the menu that lets you pick which language you want to translate to, like Spanish, French, Japanese. So when you select one, the app uses that language for the translation. So next we have the text view. So this area shows the text that the camera reads and its translation. It updates every time the app detects a new word or sentence. Next we have the view. So this is just a small empty view, and it's used as a spacer or divider. It's under the text area. It helps organize the layout and make things look cleaner. So now let's go on to the it might be the manifest file, I think so. So on the manifest file, we have things like, we have users permissions, user feature, application, activity, and 10th filler. So with the permissions, this line here gives the app permissions to use certain features like the camera to scan text, the internet to translate, and the microphone for text to speech. It also uses browse storage just to make sure that the app can read or save small data if needed. So we have also uses features. So this app, or this part of the app, says that the app will require a camera, so Android knows it can't run on devices without one. And then here on activity and intent filter, so this last section tells Android which screen to open first when you launch the app. In this case, our main activity, it's what makes the app appear on the home screen with its icon and when you open to tap on it. And now here on our build Gradle, basically this file in general is just used as basically the setup for how the app runs and handles everything. So you can see at the top here, it tells Android Studio we're using Kotlin. Then we set up things like what Android versions to use and that the app works with, like the app's name and ID, and what libraries it will depend on, like Camera X and ML Kit for text recognition and translation. It's kind of like the blueprints that connect everything. And it also lets us, see behind the scenes of what the app is actually going through. And so with that, we've really come to the end of this. So I hope this video was helpful in learning more about camera translation, and I appreciate you for watching, so feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.